Hey family, what's going on? Klaus here, and welcome back to Surviving with Mekanism, where guys, last time we got this fusion reactor up and running, and the graphics is weird whenever you're in this perspective. It doesn't like to show the graphics, but it's working. It is actually working. See, it's working. Told you. We got that done. We also got the, the nuclear waste thing figured out, and let me show you guys what I've done with that, by the way. If I come back here, I have set up a secondary teleporter, and it takes me down there. Also, a couple of things have changed up here, but I guess first I'll show you guys what you're familiar with. And yeah, there is no gas. No gas stored. Even if I'm running this machine, my fission reactor, at I think it's 8 millibuckets per tick, I have a net negative because I've got so many of these waste barrels. So it's super cool, guys. Super awesome. A couple of things that have changed in here. I did move everything over. If I go up here, I made this a 5x5 square instead of a 2x2. So, or not 2x2, a 4x4. So I did make it slightly bigger. Was it 4x4 or 3x3? I don't remember. Anyway, so I did make it a little bit wider because I now am able to burn at a burn rate of 8 millibuckets per tick. And that's a net positive. I don't know if I can go higher than that. I haven't tried. Honestly, I haven't tried. We may try it today. The other thing that's changed is, and it's what we're going to be up to today. Okay, let me talk about what today's focus is going to be. And I didn't do any of this stuff, but I've got it all written down. So you know what? I'm going to do it on camera here. The SPS is what's going on today. The SPS. For those of you who are unfamiliar with the SPS, it is the supercritical phase shifter, which is absolutely essential for getting our hands on antimatter. Yes, antimatter. So it turns, the supercritical phase shifter turns polonium into antimatter. And then of course you have to run the antimatter through a chemical oxidizer to get the chemical version, I guess, or chemical crystallizer, sorry. Yeah, you gotta run the antimatter through the chemical crystallizer to get an antimatter pellet. And then you use this in several craftings, and you also use it with a antiprotonic nucleosynthesizer to make things like quartz out of wool, and yellow wool makes you glowstone, red wool makes you redstone, tin gives you iron, coal gives you diamond. I mentioned this a long time ago. This has been kind of the ultimate goal. Diamond to emerald and blue wool to lapis. So this is just a super cool thing that's in the game. We'll be working toward that, but I don't know if we're gonna make it today. But I don't know if you guys saw, but to make an SPS casing, you have to have 4 polonium pellets. This thing requires, how many? 72 of these casing. You can use more, but you shouldn't. It's too expensive. So we're gonna build this thing today at the lowest price possible, the most discounted price. And that has everything to do with limiting the amount of SPS casings that we're going to use. So we have 72 of these, which means I need 72 multiplied by 4 polonium pellets, and I need 72 plutonium pellets. Well, how do you make plutonium? It's not that bad, actually. So you send the, you know where this is coming from. This is coming from the fission reactor. This is the nuclear waste. Normally it goes in, it runs through the solar neutron activator, and it kicks out as polonium, which in the PRC with fluorite and water gets turned into polonium pellets. But there's another process by which you can send nuclear waste through. You send it through the isotopic centrifuge and you get plutonium. And then you run that plutonium through the pressurized reaction chamber with water and with fluorite dust, and you get plutonium pellets. You can see I've made them here. Now, this is literally the only use that you have for plutonium. Let me show you. Plutonium. Let me just right click this and it shows you guys every usage that plutonium has. It only has one of one crafting. It's for SPS casings. And then you can also throw it into a chemical injection chamber to turn plutonium pellets into reprocessed fissile fragments, which can be used to be turned into fissile fuel. So essentially, you can use plutonium pellets for what they're worth, for what they're for, SPS casings, or you can turn them back into fissile fuel. So yeah, there's not very many uses for it. And so I've got a bunch of it here, plutonium, I got a bunch of it here, and we'll deal with that later. But yeah, so plutonium, that's how you make it, and that is what it's for. So I think that's everything I needed to update you guys on. let's start making this SPS casing. So first things first, I'm gonna grab 5 stacks of that. Oh, also gauge dropper. Okay, so in a previous episode, was it last episode? I don't remember. I was with this PRC and I filled it accidentally with liquid ethylene and something else, and I couldn't figure out how to pull it out. Well, you make this gauge dropper, and if you look up dropper, and it's really easy. 1 osmium, 5 glass panes, and that's it. And you use this dropper, you right click, or you left click, and it takes stuff out of these machines that can't vent it off itself. And now I've got a gauge dropper with liquid ethylene in there, which is cool because I can then grab this dropper and put it wherever it needs to go for liquid ethylene to be turned into normal ethylene or whatever. And yeah, it's good. So anyway, just wanted to remind, I left that in my inventory so I'd remember to show you guys that. That's pretty flippin' awesome. I had no idea. I had somebody in the comments of a previous video mention it. I forgot about it, and then I just remembered again. So anyway, guys, back to business. To make SPS, or the supercritical phase shifter, we're going to need 5 different items. So I've only showed you guys 2. The SPS casing and the SPS ports. But we're also going to need reactor glass, which is, you know, you guys have seen reactor glass before. But if you are not viewers of my series, you're just checking out the video because of the title or whatever, then I totally get it. But reactor glass is enriched iron with lead ingots and some glass in the very middle. We're also going to need a supercharged coil. So I'm going to need one of these. And then we're also going to need a chemical crystallizer to convert the antimatter from the liquid state into something that we can actually handle. So crystal, there we go. And this thing's also very expensive. So there we go. So to begin, let me think for a second. To begin, actually, I have some extra reactor glass I'm going to pull out just to see if maybe I don't have to make quite as many as I'm thinking. I've got some enriched iron. I forgot to make some enriched iron before we started, but that's okay. So let's make SPS casings. The last thing we actually need to talk about, because we need polonium, we need plutonium, we've already talked about that. The last thing we needed HDPE sheets, which I don't think I brought with me because I wanted to show you guys the system that I made to actually get some HDPE sheets. So over here near our gas burning generator where we have all of our ethylene, remember we have the crusher, it feeds into this bin, it pulls out to this PRC kicks it out and it ends up here. This is the substrate. Well, you send the substrate over here through this PRC, which is connected to a rotary condensator, which is connected to the ethylene because you have to run a PRC with liquid ethylene, oxygen, and substrate to get HDPE pellets. But then that's not all. I ran that up through a bin, which then pulled it out through to a formulaic assemblicator, automatically crafting me 3 plus a few more sheets of HDPE. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab the HDPE pellets just in case I need some extra. And there we go, that's it. So I automated all this and it came in handy. It definitely did. And also I had to do, for the extra oxygen, I've got this tank, but it's dumping excess, but I haven't even gotten close to using up the entire thing. So just wanted to show you guys that. That is how I got all the HDPE sheets. All right, so let's go ahead and sleep, and then it is time to begin crafting. Unfortunately, I've got some really upgraded and fast machines, so if we have to like enrich a bunch of iron or something, we should be good. All right, so first things first, let me shift click this, and I'm going to make exactly, because again, this is extremely expensive, I'm going to make exactly 72 of these cases, and I'm actually wondering if I may not have enough material to make this work. I've got 52, I've got plenty of plutonium, plenty of polonium. What I don't have is enough HDPE sheets. So here, let's just make a few more of those and shift click this. I can only make 2 more. Oh, I don't have enough HDPE sheets. What the heck? That is not good. So you think you did all this math and you think you're so smart and so cool and all this, and then you realize, oh snap, I didn't actually do it right. All right, so what if I do items eject on, and that's gonna kick the HDPE pellets out of here, and it's going to make automatically a bunch of HDPE sheets. This should be automatic. So this thing needs to also be ejecting. It is ejecting, that's awesome. So it should be working automatically. I must have underestimated how much of this stuff I needed. Or do I have some in my inventory? I don't. All right then, well, this is working. So while this is working, so it should stay loaded. Let's make a few of the other things, okay? The next thing that we're going to need is SPS ports, and I'm going to be making 3 of them since they come in just 1 each. That means that I need 3 of the purple squares. So 1, 2, 3. Make these ports. You do need minimum of 3. You can have more. So it's entirely up to you what you want to do. You have to go in with power and in with your radioactive material called polonium, and you have to come out with your antimatter. So there's your 3 ports. I'm still working on SPS casings. The next thing is going to be reactor glass, which again, I need 126. I already have 7, so that means I need 119. So basically 120 because you have to round those up. So 120 divided by 4 is 30. So I need 30 glass and 120 enriched iron, 120 lead ingots. So let's go 1, 2, grab that. And I need the enriched iron. I don't have near enough. So let's grab a couple of those and some coal. Okay, let's enrich the coal. I'm just gonna make a bunch of enriched iron. I generally have a pretty good reason to have it. I'm trying to look and remember if maybe I had set some of the stuff down that I don't have in my inventory somewhere, but apparently I don't. Very unusual. All right, anyway, enriched iron. Let's throw in the iron ingots. I believe it's going to be 4 stacks. Would be, actually 4 stacks would be half. So I actually need to have 8 stacks. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here, let's just make a whole bunch of enriched iron. Whole bunch. That should already be plenty. Right? Is that pretty close? Yeah, that's pretty close. All right, let's make the reactor glass. And remember, I need to make 120 more. So I'm going to make 2 groups of 60. And there we go. So again, the grand total, I'm just not making as many as I actually have to have, but the grand total that I have to have is a 126, which you'll see that's exactly right. Now, let's make the supercharged coil. And again, I'm just waiting on those HDPE sheets to be done. Supercharged coil. So I need a laser, which requires 2 energy tablets. I think I've got a few. Actually, I think I've got a few in here. Yeah, I've got 2 backup energy tablets. I also need steel casing, which I should have a bunch of them. Yeah, I've got a bunch of them. Awesome. Okay, and then 3 of these reinforced alloys. 1, 2, 3, and a diamond. Got a bunch of diamonds. And there's my laser. Okay, and then I'm also going to need 3 polonium pellets, 3 copper ingots. 1, 2, 3. I've got plenty of polonium. I'm gonna go and grab those. And then, what else was it? Oh, 2 of the purple squares. Okay. All right, supercharged coil. You only have to have 1 of those, though a lot of people prefer to have a bunch more. And lastly, let's get the oh, I don't have to type it. I've got it here. Chemical crystallizer. All right, so I need another steel casing. I need some fluorite. And what else? 2 purple squares. And then 4 of these. And I've got to run these through my osmium compressor. All right, so while that's running, let's go check on our HDPE sheets being produced over here. Hopefully it is actually working off camera. All right, is this, what's, uh-oh, I have run out of ethylene again. Oh, great. Okay, maybe, okay, I've got 45 of them. That might be enough, otherwise I'll have to, I keep running out of flipping ethylene. It's terrible. All right, SBS casing. I needed to make, let me think for a second. I needed to make 72, but I made 3 of these, which is 12. So that means I need 60 total left. 60 total. So I don't quite have enough yet. I'm still 7 short. So let's do this. I've got shears probably sitting in my inventory somewhere. Uh-oh, please don't run out. No! Guys, I think we're like super, super close. 28! Oh, we got it. We got the perfect number. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Let's go. Let's go. We don't have time. We don't have time to wait around. Let's do this. And there's our 60 SPS casings. Okay, so I've made everything that I needed. Remember, we needed 72 casings, but I used 12 of them to make these ports. Okay, reactor glass, I've got plenty of that. We needed 126. We also needed the supercharged coil. And the last thing is the chemical crystallizer, which if I check my osmium compressor, I've got everything I need in there. Let's make this. There we are. All right, guys, so let's reorganize everything. We're gonna have to build this thing. Now, the problem with, it's not really a problem, it's just like a reality with the supercritical phase shifter is that it can only be one size. Like, it's got one size and that's it. So let's go ahead and sleep the night away. Oh, I'm excited, guys. This is gonna be awesome. We have to set up all the piping and connect the stuff to it, to the radioactive junk. Okay, so you know what I want to do? I kind of want to dig this one. No, because the bottom layer is not really great. All right, so the way you build this, guys, is you make a 3x3 square. Okay, just like so, and I'm using my reactor glass. And then I'm going to add 3 on each face. Just like so. Okay? And then, and that's all with glass, and we want to use as much glass as possible and as little of the casing as possible, because you guys saw the glass is super cheap, the casing is super expensive. So you don't want to have to do that. And then, so we made the 3x3 square, added 3 on all the sides, and then I'm going to add the casing on all the sides and in these corners. And that's it. That is one of the sides. Now notice it's pretty big. It's bigger than our reactor. So it's kind of a bummer. I would have liked to have put this back there if I had known, but I didn't know. I didn't have that information on hand. But it's okay. So now, and remember, I got to put these ports in too. I'm going to kind of decide what to do with the ports going forward. But so the next part is going to be creating this piece. And remember, we had a 3x3 square plus 3 on either side. So I got to add these 3. Okay, and then I've got to add the casing. And again, this is why the jetpack is absolutely the best. Just like so. And there we go. That is side number 2 out of 6 complete. Let's keep going. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's essentially a 5x3 block plus the sides added on. Okay, 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. SPS casings on the corners and on the top. There we go. All right, that's redone. So I know that I'm filling in with glass where there's going to be some ports, so I'm going to go ahead and do the top layer, because I feel like that would definitely help me in the, I don't know. I'm going to have empty spaces, and I'd rather the empty spaces be on the side than on the very top. So let's go ahead, fill these in. Just like so. I got to do 3 more over here. Okay, casing on these corners. And then casing up here. Okay, so I got 1 more face to go, and then we're gonna place these ports where they're supposed to go, and then deedly-dee, right? Oh, dang. Oh my gosh, why is this so slow? That was surprisingly slow. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And 2, 3. All right, and I must have definitely added some extra glass, but this thing should, oh, blast. There we go. This thing should form as soon as I get my ports in there. Oh, come on. We're being such a klutz, man. Right there, and right there. All right, and it's actually formed. It doesn't have any ports, so can't do anything with it just yet. But there we go. As you can see, it is now shaped correctly. So what I want to do is I want to input the power from the back. I mean, I kind of would like to do it from the... I don't know. It really doesn't matter. The antimatter is definitely going to come out right here. So let's go ahead and go ahead and just set it down just like so. And this is going to be a input. Okay. And then, you know what? Let's just go ahead and put the power input on this side as well. I can always use, you know, quantum entangler porters. And then, oh, you know what? No, that has to be, this has to be output. Right. Because the antimatter is what comes out, what goes in is power, and then what also goes in is radioactive material. And I want that to come in from the bottom so it's not a risk to my health if something bad happens, or, you know, it's a little safer if it's underneath. So we're gonna put the port right here, and again, that'll be input because it is the radioactive material. All right, and we gotta now run the cables, but there we go, guys. It is now fully formed and awesome. So now what we gotta do is get the polonium. So this is kind of a big deal, is I've got to, I believe the polonium is run in this direction. I kind of need to like do some exploratory digging, to be honest. I mean, if I use my my mini map here, I'm at -16 and 127, 428. So yeah, -16 is right here. Technically, I could grab this polonium and go up and out, and it would be in line with where I need it to go as long as it's up above. The problem is it's going to try to interact with this here. So what if I went, let me think for a second. Yeah. Okay, let's make the, because there's nothing in there right now, so there's nothing to worry about. Ultimate pressurized tubes. And, oof, okay. I gotta configure 8 gases and turn this off. There we go. And I want this to be up here, to be honest with you. So let's go ahead and run this across. It's up above our heads, so there's no risk of, you know, anything going awry. And this is lined up correctly as far as, you know, it's where -16 will be. But I probably am gonna have to go up, I guess. I mean, I don't even know, to be honest. Where's 16? 16's right here. Yeah, so let's actually get up in there. Remember, it's 128, so we may actually have to go like really, really high up. Let's see, what is this? Let's get up in here and see what we run into. Oh, yeah, 428. Yeah. So this is probably, yeah, this is the edge. So the port is right here. Perfect. That actually worked out really, that was very smooth, all right? That was just extremely smooth. Okay, so there's the port. So let's put this baby back on there first. Here we go. And then ultimate pressurized tubes, you guys go right along like so. And of course, I don't really need the lights down here. I guess I could just put the dirt back. There we go. Now I can just go ahead and connect these up. I might not have enough tubes to get this done. But there we are. All right, so radioactive material going up and over me, not the best idea, but, you know, can't do anything about it right now. Also, if I really wanted to, like, crank all the polonium that I have, then I would actually have to disconnect this. So I'm going to go ahead and do it just for the heck of it, but let's go clear that. There we go. So now all the polonium will go up and out. Very good. All right, and it's wired up. That was the most scary part, to be honest with you. Also, let's hit F7. Yeah, pretty confident that I'm going to have some stuff trying to spawn up here. So let's just light up in the most aesthetic way possible. There we go. Good. Okay, so now we need the power. So do I have a quantum entangler on me? Ooh, and I forgot one thing. Oh my gosh, I forgot about this supercharged coil. Yeah, that's not going to work. Let's go ahead and throw it in there. There we go. It was almost a disaster. Okay, so again, quantum entangler. I've got to have one in my inventory. Yep, I do. That's awesome. So let's slap this baby down, hit energy, hit set, and then we're going to be from the back, we're going to set it to output, and I'll set the rest to input just for the heck of it. So now this thing should be getting power. Oh, did I forget to set it on an eject? No. Output from the back. You know what? Let's just clear all these and then set them all to output. It is not accepting right now. Do I not have? I obviously have. Yeah. I'm good. Maybe it just doesn't have... It's concerning. Maybe I have to have a cable. Actually, a cable would be really smart. Let me just look at this one more time. It's output or input, and that's it. So we're definitely going to output, or we're definitely going to input power. But let me slap this thing down. I have it set on energy. Okay, and energy is set to output on top. But I'm going to use a special cable. Let me just see here. Yeah, elite universal cables. Notice something about these cables. So you have elite universal cables. It can hold 1 megajoule per tick, which is about how much my fusion reactor makes. And then the advanced universal cable can only hold 1/8 of that. And then the basic can only hold like 1/12 of that, or like 1/15 of that. So by using the blue, the elite cables, I'm going to be able to pump in just as much power as my fusion reactor is going to be able to give. So that is that. So crank that in there. That should be accepting power. I don't know why I'm not seeing any kind of power. It's really confusing me. Oh, wait, it's the port. The port is the one that has to... Here. The port has the power, but I don't think I'm able to actually see it from here. I think there's a mod or an adjustment that you can make to see the power that's inside of there. So, all right, so let's crank this thing on because it is the thing that has to actually make the radioactive material. This has to actually stop. It's concerning me that it isn't. Oh, there we go. Okay, that stopped. That's good. And there we are. There we have it, guys. The supercritical phase shifter. It has been activated, and as you can see, it is, not doing the best. Progress is 43%. I don't know what the heck that means. It's accepting polonium, though. I'm wondering if this is progress toward... I guess we'll find out. We're gonna find out what this progress is toward, but it's not accepting, or it's not receiving enough polonium for it to even be able to maintain itself. That's the problem. Yeah, we're at 82%. And I would like to actually go ahead and set this down too. Can I accept power from the left? Yes. Yep, so we are powered. And now if I use a... Where's my pressurized tube? Oh, I got one more. Okay, well, I'll slap that down. And this, okay, so this has officially accepted or received antimatter, but it's only accepted and received 1 millibucket of antimatter, because this thing requires, I think it's, here, let me just look at it real quick, antimatter. Yep, so in the supercritical phase shifter, it turns 1,000 polonium into 1 millibucket of antimatter, which means it will take 1 million millibuckets of polonium to make 1,000 antimatter, and that's how much is necessary to make an antimatter pellet. 1,000 millibuckets to get an antimatter pellet. Now, I've got 1 millibucket right now. It's trying, it's doing its best. It's just not doing a super great job. Also notice, let me see, is this thing, oh, I've got over a terajoule of stored up energy now. That's awesome. What if I used an ultimate energy cable? I'm just curious here. I'm just curious. If I used 3 ultimate energy cable, I don't even think I've got any. Ultimate logistical sorter. Yeah, let's go make... Let's make some ultimate energy cables and see if that helps. There we go. And the polonium will begin to stack up in here, which means I don't know if, I don't know what's gonna happen if it doesn't use up its radioactivity. Like, if it doesn't use up the polonium, like, will it start to back up and explode or something? Like, I don't know. I have no idea. It's probably a good idea to leave this thing running, though. But let's go ahead and plug it back in. It, wow, it blew through that polonium super, super fast. It is inputting a ton of energy, though, which is great. And I guess the progress bar is going to move relatively quickly. So, very, very cool. Okay, so, guys, here is now the biggest limiting factor. The fission reactor, okay? I'm only burning at 8 millibuckets per tick. I'm actually only outputting 24.61 millibuckets. Oh, my energy is actually lower. Interesting. Oh my goodness. I'm outputting 24 megajoules per tick. I thought it said 2 for some reason. I'm inputting 1.55 megajoules. I'm outputting 24.61. 24. Does that have... Is that based on the induction provider? Induction provider. Output rate, 131 megajoules. Interesting. So if I wanted to output, let's say, a gigajoule, for instance, then I would have to use a bunch of providers. I have to use like 7 or 8 providers. That's crazy. Anyway, guys, so it is currently working. I have gotten 4 antimatter pellets. I'm running through this yellow uranium like water. Actually, it's not that bad. It's not that terrible. But I want you guys to notice one more thing about the supercritical phase shifter, okay? I'm gonna run this antimatter off camera. I hope one day to have an antimatter pellet, right? It's very rare. It doesn't have a lot of uses. Again, let me show you guys what it'll do. Antimatter pellet. You can use an antimatter pellet in a supermassive QIO drive to store 16 billion items. You can use 3 of them to make a gravitational modulating unit, which gives you basically creative flying in survival, which is pretty cool. You have to have another star and a bunch of other stuff. It's crazy expensive. You could also have a teleportation unit, which provides you with the ability to quick travel. Interesting. You have to have 3 antimatter pellets for that. To get an antiprotonic nucleosynthesizer, you have to have 2. So everything that you have to make with it is very, very expensive. And as you can see, I've only got 5 out of 1,000 so far to just make 1 pellet. So it's very expensive. But I want you to notice something, okay? I spent all this time making that giant radioactive room downstairs with 1,000 barrels. Notice that this process takes polonium, turns it into antimatter. Antimatter is not radioactive. So this is actually producing absolutely no radioactive material. As long as I'm burning the polonium that it's producing and turning it into antimatter, I'm getting rid of all radioactivity, which is pretty dang awesome. So the limiting factor is definitely the fission reactor. I would like to make a bigger one, make maybe a bigger turbine, maybe make it salt cooled instead of water cooled. But for now, hey, we're making it. It's working, and we're actually burning through our power much faster than we can produce it now. So maybe I should start trying to tweak my fusion reactor and increase its rates, because you guys, seemed kind of disappointed in the comments that I, didn't, power this thing up and see what was going on. But I knew that it was going to take an entire episode of tweaking this thing to get to a more respectable output. But I mean, even going from a 2 to a 4, the power production is going to double to 2 megajoules instead of just 1. So that'll be something that I'll work on definitely in the next episode. I want this thing to work as well as it can, although I suspect it's going to take a long time to make antimatter, no matter how set up you are. But I would definitely like to, improve the size of these things, or I can just let it AFK. As long as I don't let it AFK, well, I can't let it AFK because this thing's dependent on solar power for the solar thingamajig. So, I don't know, man. It's crazy, and I love how it looks. Don't you just love how it looks? A lot of people will put, so there's only 1 of those supercharged coils. A lot of people will put like 1 on all 4 sides, and then maybe on the top and the bottom as well. So you have, 6 of them. You can do that, but you only need 1. I think you need 2 to max out the actual effectiveness of making polonium. 2 is the maximum, but you can do more for aesthetic purposes. That's basically what I'm saying. So, yeah, there you go, guys. That is the supercritical phase shifter. I apologize for the hiccup at the beginning with the HTPE sheets that just didn't have enough made. It's crazy. But hey, you know what? At least we got this thing made, and we are now making antimatter, burning through all kinds of power. In fact, I'm net negative by a lot of power right now. I may have to go back in with those blue cables so I'm not net negative. And yep, we're going to start tweaking the fusion reactor next episode. I'm going to probably expand my fission reactor and probably my turbine as well very, very soon. And we also have a lot of really cool toys we need to make as well. Probably things that we could make at the same time that this thing is running because it takes so long. We have a lot to do. So anyway, guys, that's all for me in this episode of Surviving with Mekanism. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Like this video if you liked it. Subscribe if you haven't already for daily gaming videos. Remember that I love each and every one of you, and I will see you all again next time.